Imagine the following scene. A hot July night in the Bronx. The stadium empty. The echo of bats still vibrating through the concrete hallways. And at the center of it all, an unsettling silence. Not the silence that comes at the end of a game, of a loss, or a celebration. It's the kind of silence that comes before something bigger, a warning, a moment when everything could change. Yankees fans know this feeling well. The season is charging ahead at full speed, and the MLB trade deadline is approaching like a runaway train. But this time, the atmosphere feels different. There are no guarantees, no obvious heroes. And the most storied franchise in American baseball finds itself at a dangerous, yet tempting crossroads. The week's biggest news didn't come from where people expected. Aaron Judge, the soul of the team, was placed on the injured list. Nothing serious, at least it seems, but serious enough to remind everyone that time is ticking. With their captain temporarily out, the Yankees were forced to act, and fast. They entered the trade market with more urgency than flash. No flashy names, no superstars, no headlines glowing like neon in Times Square. Instead, two names arrived that, at first glance, may seem ordinary: Ryan McMahon and Amed Rosario. McMahon came from the Colorado Rockies, a solid third baseman, with consistent defense and some pop in his bat. Not an MVP, but a reliable guy. Rosario, from the Washington Nationals, brings versatility and speed, especially useful against left-handed pitching. Together, they represent more than just stopgap reinforcements. They are clear signs that the Yankees are trying to fix their holes with surgical precision. Third base had been a painfully weak point for months. The lack of defensive and offensive consistency at that position was throwing off the entire balance of the team. Josh Donaldson became a shadow of his former self. DJ LeMahieu, as versatile as he is, wasn't delivering what's expected of a regular starter. So yes, McMahon fills a real need. But let's not be naive. That alone is not enough. Despite still playing at a high level, close. The Yankees' problem goes beyond their infield or lineup depth. The deepest hole is on the mound. The starting rotation, even with big names like Carlos Rodon and Max Fried, has been unstable. Fried is still working back into form. Rodon fluctuates between dominant outings and worrisome ones. Beyond them, the depth vanishes quickly, and the bullpen, once a cornerstone of the team, is now in a strange state. Overworked, lacking reliable late-inning arms, and utterly dependent on Clay Holmes. Here's the reality. The Yankees have the best offense in the American League, but a pitching staff ranked 17th in ERA. That's unacceptable for a team openly aiming for a championship. And that's why the next move could define the future, and maybe even the recent history of the franchise. This is where the name that's putting league insiders on high alert comes in. Joe Ryan, starting pitcher for the Minnesota Twins. Under contract through 2027, Ryan is the kind of player who can transform a team's rotation overnight. In 2023, he was already turning heads with a 3.60 ERA, a 2.87 xERA, and a whip under 1. But in 2024, he took it further. With 137 strikeouts, a 2.82 ERA, and a 0.92 whip, Ryan has cemented himself as one of the best starters in Major League Baseball. And the scariest part? He's still getting better. He hasn't even peaked yet. But it doesn't stop there. If the Yankees truly want to transform their rotation and reinforce their bullpen, Ryan can't be the only target. The Twins have two other names who would fit perfectly: Jhoan Duran and Griffin Jax. Duran is currently one of the most dominant relief pitchers in the league. His fastball exceeds 102 miles per hour, and his ground ball rate is nearly absurd, 99%. A natural closer, used to high-pressure situations. Griffin Jax, although having an inconsistent season, shows surprising advanced metrics. His expected ERA is 2.97, with strikeout and chase rates in the 99th and 100 percentiles of the league. He's the kind of talent that explodes in the right environment. Bringing in this trio would be a game-changer for the Yankees, and also a statement. It would say to the baseball world that the Bronx is back, not as a supporting act, but as the main show. The price, of course, would be steep. George Lombard Jr., Carlos Lagrange, Cam Schlittler, and Spencer Jones are all names carrying future promise. Especially Jones, who many are already calling the next Aaron Judge, for his physique, demeanor, and raw potential. Giving him up hurts. But watching the playoffs slip away for lack of a dominant arm could hurt even more. From the human side, this deal also carries powerful stories. Joe Ryan, for instance, is known among teammates for being quirky and funny. He's shown up to games in outlandish outfits, obsessed with alternative fashion, with a dry sense of humor that contrasts with his icy mound presence. Jhoan Duran is all intensity, a native of the Dominican Republic. He built his career in the minors by overcoming every obstacle with hard work and insane velocity. Griffin Jax has a completely different path. He was the first MLB player to graduate from a U.S. Air Force Academy, a man of discipline, ethics, and a totally unique journey. All three could form the backbone of a new Yankees pitching staff. Joe Ryan as a number 2 or even number 1 in the rotation, alongside Fried. Duran as the closer who relieves Clay Holmes' burden and restores confidence to the bullpen. Jax as a tactical wildcard, able to face any part of an opposing lineup effectively. With these names, the Yankees wouldn't just be good, they'd be dangerous. Maybe even the team to beat. There's precedent to support this logic. The Astros in 2017 with Verlander, the Braves in 2021 with a string of small trades that led them to a title. The secret isn't always signing superstars, but building the right roster at the right time. And that's what this trade represents. The chance to shape a team for October. Not a team to win 100 regular season games, but a team built for 7-game wars, for frayed nerves, for silencing enemy stadiums. The rumors are gaining steam. Experts like Jeff Passan and John Heyman have already cited the Yankees as extremely active in the pitching market. The connection with the Twins is logical, functional, and viable, even with a high price tag. Internally, the coaching staff knows that the current rotation won't hold up in a series against the Orioles or the Rangers. That makes every behind-the-scenes conversation more urgent. The fans are responding to forums, social media, podcasts. Everyone is debating whether it's worth trading Spencer Jones or if this would just be another rush deal like so many before. But something feels different this time. The team seems ready to go all in. And if this trade happens, the Yankees would enter the playoffs with a core capable of taking on anyone. A lineup led by Judge and Soto, a bullpen reinforced with Duran, and a rotation featuring Ryan, Fried, Rodon, and maybe a lighter Nestor Cortez used as a swingman. That's a championship caliber structure. There are no guarantees in baseball. That's a fact. But sometimes you have to take risks. Summing it all up, it's clear that the real value of this trade isn't just in the names, but in what it represents. A shift in mindset, a refusal to repeat past mistakes, a desire, finally, to be great at the right time. Because being good in June is easy. Being decisive in October is what separates the historic from forgettable. And the Yankees for years have lived in that limbo. Strong enough to compete, but not strong enough to win. The clock is ticking. The deadline is approaching. And now it's up to Brian Cashman to decide if this will be another year of almost or the beginning of a new glorious chapter in the Bronx. Because the talent is here. The foundation is in place. What's missing is courage. Courage to risk the future for the present. Courage to make the kind of move that fans will remember for generations. Courage to be the Yankees. Again. And now, I throw the question to you, the viewer. Would you make this trade? Would you give up 4 of the system's top prospects to bring in Joe Ryan, Duran, Jax, and maybe even Harrison Bader back? Or would you hold on to the future and roll the dice with what you already have? Drop a comment below. Leave a like if you enjoyed this analysis, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapters of this July saga. Because if there's one thing we've learned from Yankees history, it's that when the noise stops, it's because the thunder is about to arrive. And the storm, it's coming from the north, from Minnesota, and maybe from the very heart of the Bronx.